So I decided, hey, I've been kind of drinking. My meals at the moment, my healthy meals are not exactly very varied at the moment because I'm using these like Weight Watchers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like simplify shit for the time being. Then I shifted to meal replacement drinks. And that was it. So I've been on a bit of a liquid diet for the last week. Today I thought I think I want something a little bit solid. I'm gonna make myself a bacon sandwich.
My man.
The thing is, though, have you ever looked at how many calories are in a single slice of bread?
Yeah, like anywhere from 70 to 140.
All the bread I've ever seen is 110, and it's gross.
What the fuck?
Yep, I have never seen.
That's not world ending.
Dude, 3 slices of bread is the same as like a Weight Watchers meal. What the fuck?
See, like maybe this is just like a difference between like how we're doing our individual diets. I eat like 1,800 a day, so it's like, oh, my breakfast was like 450. Neat. Okay.
That's the thing. Yeah, I'm doing like 1,700 a day at the moment. That's the issue, and I can't be having like 3 slices of bread taking up basically a meal.
I feel like I've actually missed a key detail. Why does a bacon sandwich need 3 slices of bread?
Oh no, sorry, 4 slices. Because I made 2. I got carried away.
I was just like, what the Wendy's triple stack ass fucking bacon sandwich are you making?
So I went to the shops, the village over, picked up some bacon, then a packet of sausages, and then eggs. So I came back and made 2 bacon, sausage, and egg sandwiches. And oh my god, with spicy sweet and chili sauce on top. My breakfast was all the calories for my fucking day. I did the numbers whilst it was cooking up, and I was like, Jesus, I better savor this.
God, dude, I had that the other day. It's like, this is half my daily caloric intake. Let's fucking go. Like I was celebrating yesterday because I got out of therapy and like I was done. Yeah. So I went to Wendy's and got a bourbon bacon burger, and I plugged it into my fitness pal, and I was like, 1,000 in just the burger. Well, I'm so glad I got a root beer and fries with it.
Oh my god, so much.
It's okay every now and again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tangents, the podcast where we follow the conversational thread wherever it may lead. As a fair disclosure, we will swear. If you have children in the car, throw them out of the car. My name is Limo. With me today is my good friend Alex.
If you're going to throw them out of the car, at least pull down the window a little bit so it doesn't break it fully.
Shout tuck and roll so they know what to do.
I mean, that's only if you like them.
Anyway, I addressed myself as my screen name. So we're definitely I'm not operating at my peak performance. How are you doing today, Alex?
I'm already sipping on my second cup of G-Subs. I've been up all night working. I have not slept in almost 24 hours. So I'm almost hitting that mark. So second wind should kick in halfway through this episode. So at the mid-roll, there should be, you should notice a difference.
Oh, no. No, bro.
Hey, man, you know how we keep talking about hustle culture is horrible? Shame that I kind of have to do it at the moment just to keep up with the workflow. It's unintentional.
Well, hopefully we'll have a solution for that. If you're a benevolent brand manager, we're looking for sponsors right now. Please free my boy. Please free my boy.
You know, I feel powerful. I've done one whole podcast, a half a podcast, and a Calbus episode today. Alongside finishing up one of my personal projects, uploading it, and planning out 2 other ones for the next coming week to record. So I've been busy today. You know,
the way that like you're very energetic and like ready to go, it reminds me of when I was in college and I had to pull an all-nighter to get a project done. And my professor, he's been in the industry. He looks me up and down and he goes like, you look ready to collapse. And I was just like, man, I'm excited. I'm having a good day. I got my project done, ready for crits. He busted me for sleeping halfway through class because I just conked out.
Oh, don't worry. I'm used to this. Like, the reason why I've been up all night.
It's not a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing. It's absolutely not a good thing. But the reason is, you know how a couple of years ago I used to work in a factory?
Oh, yeah. The 4-on, 4-off nightmare shifts.
Yeah, the continental shifts, which was apparently gaining traction across Europe, which I fucking hate. Mainly because it's you do 4 days on, 4 days off, which means there's no solid schedule. You can't you can't schedule things on a regular basis for weeks because your shifts change throughout the month.
Yeah,
and it's gross.
And it's also awful for your circadian rhythm because you're not going down and getting up at relatively normal times.
This is the worst part because the continental shift, I don't know if it's the same everywhere else. This was 2 days day shift, 2 days night shift. 12-hour shifts. 7 to 7. So
that sounds genuinely awful and disgusting.
Yeah, so before that, I was also working as an AV tech, which abused me for like work hours because I was salaried. So I could, no matter how many hours I worked, I was always paid the same. And it was basically just over minimum wage.
You know,
and I was working, like, that job had me working basically 6 months of the year nonstop. I could not have a day off for 6 months because it was the on season. And the way they justified it was, oh, you've got 6 months where you've got tons of days off because you're not needed. It's like, bullshit. I've got clients emailing every single day asking, oh, where's this? How can I do this? All this kind of stuff. And I can just be called in on the whim and I have to catch a bus or get a taxi and go down to turn on some lights for the sales department to show around a client. Stand around for 20 minutes as they show them around, turn everything off, and then go home.
You know what else is awful?
What's that?
Absolutely allows no day off? Live streaming.
Oh, dude, I wanted to bitch a little bit more about my past jobs because they fucked my life. They fucked up my sleep schedule for the rest of my life so far because my body just switched into night shift mode last week, and I'm trying to fix it. That's why I'm up all night.
Gotcha. But yeah, no, live streaming, it's butts, and we both have way too much experience with how bad it can be for you as a human being. Look, I'm just saying, the SCP Foundation isn't real, but Twitch does technically count as, you know, an actual issue, and VTubers themselves are a memetic hazard.
Dude, oh god, did you see that, what was it? It was an Australian news report, like, the other day where they were talking about how, like, they did an article on VTubers. And what was the phrase they used? Completely synthetic beings.
Yo, I've been acting like a cryptid all my life. You cannot find a good photo of me anywhere. And like now someone else gets the fame for being not a real thing? Fine. But go fuck yourself. I put in the effort to be weird, and they just get it because they got quirky anime movies.
That's the thing, though. Like the report was like a bunch of 40 to 50-year-old people just talking like, yeah, these completely synthetic beings just seem to be taking over the internet at the moment. And they were just all laughing about it. And they were talking about like Kazuna Ai and all this kind of stuff. Like, and apparently she had a concert with a live band with tickets selling for $150, and they all scoffed. Oh, how could it be making money?
Don't tell these people about Hatsune Miku.
It's just so bizarre. It's just so bizarre.
Honestly, I cannot wait for the day that you and I get to be grumpy 50-year-olds.
Dude, I was grumpy at the age of 12. I'm good. I've got
I was
this
grumpy
down.
out the womb. I was born with a red hot spoon in my mouth. But no, like, specifically the thing about live streaming is you wanted to talk about, I'm going to affectionately call it the platform wars when it really is no such thing.
So recently, it's not been recent. It's been going on for a couple of years, but there's been some interesting stuff that's happened at the time of you listening to this. A couple of weeks ago, YouTube made a very interesting move towards their live streaming platform and everything going towards that. And it sparked a lot of debate. There's been some interesting videos posted by Harris Heller and Stream Doctor and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the news channels have picked up on it as well, like Scarce and all that.
Scarce still exists?
Yeah. And he's still going strong, dude.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, he just kind of like went under the radar for us, I guess, for a while. But no, this whole idea of Twitch versus YouTube and which platform is going to become more prevalent. And after like looking at like some of the stats and like looking at the way things have been going and like looking into it a little bit, for quite a while now, I've been of the mind that YouTube is going to become the stronger and the more used platform, YouTube is going to stand on top for live streaming within the next few years. Mainly, yep, you go.
I was gonna say I would actually be in agreement for like a number of genuine complaints that I've voiced over the years.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Twitch has been basically for a long time has been at the top. It's been at the top because it was the main live streaming. Twitch was for live streaming. Other platforms started to try and come up, like Mixer. There was D-Live and all this kind of stuff that basically got PewDiePie to herald it for a while. Then is D-Live's even still around? I don't even know.
I'm gonna Google it.
But like Mixer went under after the whole Shroud and Ninja stunt. They got paid an awful lot for 6 months of work basically, and all this kind of stuff.
D-Live is still going. Highest game is almost 600 people watching Minecraft. Then the news is the next highest for some reason, and then cryptocurrency with 70 viewers.
I mean, hey. I mean, you can always stream on whichever platform you want, and this isn't a case of being like, we're not talking of, oh, you should just move to platforms, you should do this. This is just like speculation on our behalf at this point. Like, what we're saying is not fact. It's not to be taken as like
gospel.
My brain just farted completely there. There was a word that I was looking for, and I lost it.
How's that second wind coming, buddy?
Hey, dude, shut the fuck up.
But yeah, everything that we're saying is almost entirely speculation based off of what we think is going to happen with our limited knowledge and experience. Because we stream, but obviously we're not super ingrained in streamer culture because we're not streamers by profession. We are goobers who like to stream and nothing more.
I stream my editing work every now and again, mainly for the fact that I like to sort of socialize whilst I'm doing it, because editing is very kind of isolating in a sense. So it's sometimes nice to just like have people to chat with whilst you're doing work.
Yeah. For me, I do the same thing with game development because it gives me people to talk my algorithms through. And I also like to just occasionally stream random games that I'm just playing that are like very just stupid. Or in some way interesting from an outside perspective.
Do you want to know something that's funny, right? I've noticed when I stream, like I stream games every now and again. Like I do a lot. I tried to do quite a few bits of VR games on stream. When I stream games, I get less viewers than when I'm doing editing work, and it's bizarre to me.
Well, to be fair, it's because you have become known for the editing streams.
Really?
What do you do more frequently?
Yeah, this is fair. But it's just like, to me, editing has just become so mundane because I do it every single day. You know, that kind of thing. Like, once you become good at something, you kind of like internalize it and you just turn it into just a habit, which then your brain, because you're not actively trying to like learn it, you turn it into a background process, you're not stimulated by it anymore. So that's where I'm at with it. So to me, editing is extremely boring, but a lot of people in chat are just like, hey, this is like, watching you work is kind of like interesting. And I get a lot of people like asking like editing tips and like how to get into editing and all this kind of stuff. It's like, oh, cool, yeah, get into it. But if you want to get into editing, be ready to spend a lot of time and being bored. It takes like I try to put people off.
No, I get what you mean. Like even right now with my sculpting, because I switched from environmental to character art recently, it's been a blast, and that takes a lot of studying. But I'm still completely mentally unengaged, which is good. I like the fact that in doing the work that I do, my brain destimulates. That's really good for me. But like, that's the thing, is like, because I'm just so used to sculpting and working with ZBrush, brain shuts off. Yeah. And I'm still studying, and I'm like, oh, you know, I've got like these forms above the eye that I got to get in there. Like, oh, the bridge of the nose is a little bit wrong. Like, I'm still conscious and thinking. But there's no, like, mental anguish. It's just, like, my brain is playing static. But so let's get back on the topic of Twitch v. YouTube. So here's the thing. I personally think YouTube is going to win because Twitch cannot run nor moderate their platform worth a damn because the entire moderation team is horny 12-year-olds.
I would partially agree and disagree with that. I think what is actually happening with them is, yes, they've got a couple of troublesome moderators and admins on their team, I think what has happened is that Twitch blew up in such a way that they did not anticipate it, and they didn't grow the company in accordance with how it grew. Because let's face it, over the last couple of years with the pandemic and everything that's happened, Twitch grew exponentially because people were looking for escapes.
Yes.
So a lot of things blew up. Twitch did not grow in accordance with it. So there was a lot of people, because let's face it, Twitch started off as a very niche kind of thing. And
it was only for people named Justin.
Yeah, the good old days. But no,
God, I remember when I was a kid and that switch happened, I was like, I want to go and watch my favorite things on Justin.tv. Where'd it go? Why is everyone on Twitch now? What is this? I actually didn't put 2 and 2 together. I did not put it together until I watched Half-Life and the AI is Self-Aware. It wasn't until that stream where they made a comment about it that I actually realized what had happened.
Really?
This was in a decade of like senior citizen level confusion.
Holy crap, that's incredible. Oh.
Well, I wasn't paying close enough attention as a kid, and I never cared to figure out what happened as an adult.
But no, getting back on topic again, Twitch did not grow in accordance with how much their company grew. And at that point, there was a lot of people using it, and they didn't have... This is what I think happened. I don't think they had the staff to deal with it, and they didn't have the systems in place to deal with everything happening. So when things started to go wrong, it's not so much that they don't really care, especially with like what's been happening recently, because last couple of things that have happened would be like a hashtag a day off Twitch and all the hate raids and all this kind of stuff. What I think is it's not that they don't care, or maybe part of the staff don't care. I don't know. But I think it's just a case of we're trying to fix things. They have to go through a bunch of hoops internally to get anything done. So they're basically getting bogged down with the logistics and the bureaucracy of it all before they can do anything. And trying to fix one thing is going to cause issues somewhere else, and they're trying to minimize all the damage that they can do as much as possible. So they're basically getting stuck in this loop of we're trying to fix things, but we can't do it fast enough. And anything that we do, we're going to get torn apart by the community anyway. So they're just trying to figure out things.
This is the thing. They get torn apart by the community because they've lost the community's goodwill through shoddy management of their site.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
lackluster enforcement of rules.
As I say, I think that's what's happened, but I cannot like justify anything that they've done in the past. Like most of the shit that they've done has been abhorrent at best. I mean, like one of the recent things that I kind of picked up on that I got made aware of, and I even mentioned on Twitter and to raise awareness for, was like if people had the LGBTQ tag in their stream tags, it wouldn't send out notifications to people that followed them. Like, that is gross.
Holy shit.
That is just abhorrent. And like, if that was intentional, that is disgusting. Absolutely fucking horrible. If it was an accident, I hope they got that fixed fast.
A friendly reminder that Pride Month only exists for corporations to convince you that they're on your side.
Yeah. So again, I don't know if it was intentional or if it was by accident. I hope it was fixed either way. So again, I'm not advocating for or against Twitch. I'm just looking at this from a very objective viewpoint.
See, my issue with Twitch is Twitch and Google are both obviously companies. They both obviously want to make money.
Yes.
And this is a complaint I have with both of them. You get actual functionality out of the website by making that company millions. But until then, you are a second-class citizen.
Oh, God,
and when you are at the top or generating enough revenue, the rules cease to apply. Like, that's the thing that always gets me about Twitch, is YouTube, it's blatant, but it's almost entirely on the video side. But with Twitch, the rules are blatantly disregarded if you're making them money. Which is why, you know, the just chatting section turned into chatterbait for a little bit. Like,
yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't think it's just the money side of things. I also think it's because streamers, they will eventually, if you get big enough, I'm pretty sure you get like partnered up with like a community manager kind of thing from Twitch itself.
It's the same thing with YouTube as well, where once you hit like, I want to say 100K, you get your own YouTube support rep. Like, they might, you know, be shared between you and a couple dozen other creators, but like, you are given a direct line to YouTube for things, if they go wrong, can be sorted easily. And while not everyone seems to get that, as seen by how many YouTubers have to go through like Keemstar or like Ethan on Twitter to get actual YouTube support.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fucked to begin with. But
I mean,
like,
I kind of understand that with YouTube, with how big it is, and considering with how many channels are at that level at this point, like the amount of humans on the staff and costs and all, it's weird. It's a weird thing, but to me, it's more understandable on the Twitch side rather than on the YouTube side rather than Twitch, because of just the size and the amount of channels that require it.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. Like, and here's the other thing too. I think Harris brought this up forever ago. Because, like, lackluster enforcement of rules and a lack of any consistency, you're going to get that on both platforms. Yeah. I rail Twitch for it because they keep doubling down. YouTube just pretends like they're not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, the thing is, though, what was the last innovation Twitch made for the streaming space?
Oh, my God. I don't even damn know. I mean, I guess the big thing for them recently would be the... animated emotes.
Yeah, so not much then. I don't think that counts. I think that's just GIFs. That's just GIFs.
Yeah. No. Nothing comes to mind.
Yeah, and that's like the big issue. Like, recurrent subscriptions are now on both platforms, but only on YouTube do you get to have quality options. Like,
oh, wait. No, I remembered something that Twitch did recently that was good. For the
was it shut down?
No. For people outside of the US, the sub prices were adjusted.
Wow, that took them like a decade.
Yeah, right. Okay, so this pissed me off, right? For people over in the US, how much was it to get a tier 1 sub?
$5.
Okay, in the UK, it was £5, which is around about $7.50.
Oh.
We were paying so much more just for basic shit. But recently they put it so, hey, we're actually going to put down the subs so it's actually even to the US prices now, thanks. Okay, sorry it took so long, bye now. And that was it. I got a little email just an email, and that's all. They didn't mention it. There was no big fanfare. It was just like, hey, we've adjusted prices now. Please don't hate us more. Please, please, please.
That's the thing, though. It's like, that's not even an innovation. That's just business practices that should be in place to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, when even Nintendo beats you to the punch on something technology-related, you're behind.
Ooh. Yeah. Nintendo's a slow one, but it doesn't stop.
It does its best.
It's like the Juggernaut from X-Men. It takes a while to get going, but once it does, it just doesn't stop.
But yeah, no, like, that's the thing. Twitch hasn't really been innovating, and because they keep doubling down on violations of their own, like, terms of service and rules, it creates a very, very unrestful, like, space. And because Twitch kind of picks and chooses when it's going to start enforcing its rules, so, like, you could go months without an issue for violating their rules, and then one day, when you're not doing something, they just clap you because you, like, said something vaguely threatening to your friend on Twitter. Which is another thing, they now police what you do off-platform, which is not the best.
No.
Like, Twitch is doing its best to sanitize and abide, specifically so it can get advertisers, but then in its attempts to sanitize, it doesn't actually sanitize things that should be sanitized. Like, we shouldn't have had months of, like, borderline softcore going on and just chatting. Like, hot tub streams, in my opinion, really shouldn't exist. And I get that, you know, bikinis are regular swimwear. I understand that fully. But it's like, what's that doing on Twitch? You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to the beach. Like, it's just like an extension of, like, squats for subs, it feels like.
Yeah.
And, like, you got it, rock it, by all means. But it's like, Twitch doubles down that is okay, but an edgy joke on Twitter gets you removed. Like, the inconsistencies creates a community of unrest, a lack of innovation then creates stagnation within the actual market space. So when something like YouTube or Mixer comes around to try and shake things up, streamers will take the contract and take the risk because Twitch just, at its core, has become stagnant and doing its best to hold on for dear life.
Yeah.
They're not innovating. They're trying to sanitize so they can get more advertisers because here's a theory, I don't think Twitch is turning much of a profit at all.
Well, no, they're losing money.
Exactly.
That's like both YouTube and Twitch. I think it's been a case of since their inception, neither of the companies have actually turned a profit.
Yeah. So YouTube has slowly started finding ways of alternate monetization, and also they have the pockets of Google. So Google wants to maintain this so they can maintain technology dominance even if they're losing money, because where are you going to go for videos?
This is true, but at the same time, Twitch with a dominance for live streams also has the pockets of the richest man on the world, Mr. Jeff Bezos!
Good old-fashioned Baldy Bezos. I can't believe Baldy's Basics is going to space.
But the issue is, right, do you think Bezos gives a damn about Twitch?
No.
Do you think one of the richest men in world, if part of his empire is hemorrhaging money a lot and for a long time, do you think he's going to keep it around?
Well, this is the thing. I think Amazon is actually keeping Twitch alive for the same reason Google is keeping YouTube alive, which is to maintain dominance within the space. The issue is Twitch is losing its dominance because it's being incredibly mismanaged.
Yeah, exactly. As people start to siphon off towards other places, or if they just generally stop using the platform, they're going to start losing the revenue, which means it's just a downward spiral at that point. It's just circling the drain, and it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I would love if both Twitch and YouTube, end up existing in, like, equilibrium so there's competition.
Yeah.
Because YouTube is doing things on their side that should just be base Twitch features, but aren't.
Well, okay,
like super chats.
Yeah, let's take a look at this, right? Why do people tend to go to Twitch? Like, let's face it, over the last couple of years, there's been a huge influx of people that started streaming.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's trapped at home. What else are they going to do?
Yeah. Why do people go to Twitch? What are the main reasons?
Because their favorite streamers aren't on Facebook gaming.
Okay, let's ignore Facebook gaming for the time being.
You mean like Facebook and everyone else does?
Hey, man, Disguised Toast went to Facebook gaming and it seems to be killing it over there.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh,
they went to Facebook gaming and it's like they got swallowed by the white whale. It's like they never existed.
No, Disguised Toast is like fucking killing it over there. But mind you, I don't think there's he is the only person that I know that uses Facebook gaming. So I guess it's just like put a big fish in a small tank and of course they're going to get big numbers. So hey, no, people go to Twitch mainly for anyone can sign up for an account. It's so easy to get started streaming at this point. And the barrier for entry to start making money on Twitch potentially is so low. It is
it's
so
very
low.
Now.
Yeah. And the reason why Twitch does that is because, hey, if people are still getting small amounts of views, but they are having a dedicated, viewership, and they are spending money on that person, they are still making money.
Yes.
So, hey, that means small streamers, I'm talking like people that get maybe 3 to 5 viewers per stream, they can still get viewers. They can still do their streams. They still have fun. But let's face it, everyone that streams, they kind of want to do it. They're doing it mainly for the fact that they want to make it big eventually.
Yeah.
Let's face it. But it's like to be a top streamer, it's not even a 1%. It's like 0.001% of like the top streamers. Because what was it? There was like 10 million different live streamers in the last year or something like that. It's a ridiculously high number of people that have started streaming. And to be on the top of Twitch, you got to be doing something incredibly unique, different, or you need to have a huge following on a different platform that is going to willing to like follow you across.
I think Harris Heller said it best. You don't grow on Twitch, you grow elsewhere, and it comes back to Twitch.
Exactly. Twitch is not a platform to grow on because it is not a discoverable platform. The way Twitch is designed is you cannot be discovered on it very easily. Let's face it, Twitch, when you go onto it, it shows like the big streamers on the front page. It shows like partnered, it shows events and all this kind of stuff. Then you go to the categories, then you look at it. Who's on top? Oh, the people with the most views already. You tend not to just scroll down. And if you find someone new, if you're like checking into something, if it's a video on YouTube, you watch it for a couple of seconds, nothing wrong. Okay? You can just like stick around, you can do that. It's not going to do anything. With a live stream, you need to stick around for about 5 to 10 minutes to get the check to see if you're going to enjoy that person's content. The barrier for people to find a new streamer to follow is so damn high because let's face it, a video is going to be short, snappy, it's going to grab your attention, it's going to draw you in fast. You cannot be like that for a live stream. If you're streaming for like 3 hours, you cannot be at the top, peak performance, grabbing attention constantly for 3 hours, because no matter what you do, there's going to be lulls in activity and energy. You cannot be that on for that entire time. So, and let's face it, if you're like playing games, there's going to be downtime, there's going to be dead air. And if people join in at that time, they're going to be like, oh, this person's not that interesting. And they're going to move on and look somewhere else. So it's extremely hard to naturally grow on Twitch. It's not easy for people to discover you, and it's not easy for you to make people, stick around and follow you for any particular reason, unless they catch you at like interesting moment kind of thing.
Which is kind of how YouTube gets a leg up, because like if you put your shorts on there and you also stream on there and your highlights are there, Algorithm Coon is gonna shove you directly on people's homepage when you're live. If they already like your highlights, now they see you.
That's the thing. Do you know why YouTube has such a huge leg up?
Algorithm Coon.
It's because YouTube is the world's second largest search engine. Aside from Google, it is built for discoverability.
Yeah.
That's one of the largest points over Twitch it has, is that you can integrate your YouTube stuff, your YouTube videos, alongside the live streaming stuff, and it all connects in. Instead of being like, okay, I'm going to post off my highlights and all this kind of stuff over on YouTube, which if you do that, that's a whole extra load of work on its own.
God, it's so much work.
Then you have to be like, hey, if you like this stuff, follow me live over on Twitch. And let's face it, the click-through rate for that kind of stuff isn't very high. So yeah, having to direct people off-site and take effort to like go to a different thing and then follow you and all that kind of stuff, it's not very efficient unless you're a massive creator already on that platform.
Like, I'll be real. It took, I would say, 2 years of me watching Vinesauce on YouTube to ever tune into any one of Vinny's streams. That's the kind of conversion you're looking at. Because I like to advertise myself as like the median. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not super engaged with content. I'm not super unengaged. I am content to be here, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not actively hunting for anything.
Yeah.
Which I think most people aren't. Most people aren't looking for something when they go on YouTube. They're just kind of looking to be brain off for a little bit, which is valid. That's something that's very nice. When my brain plays static, me go happy. But, like, that's the thing. It's like, it took me that long to watch one of his streams. I'm a big fan of RT Game. I love his videos. Never tuned into one of his streams. I like Germa. I never tune into any of Germa streams. I really should, because the man's a meth addict, but I mean that in the kindest way possible. He's just got crackhead energy and he's making it work really well. I still just admire the man's creativity. He's nuts. Like, he's just nuts. But like, that's the thing though, is like, and like, these are not insignificant names in the Twitch landscape.
No, absolutely not.
I only tune into Vinny every now and again. I watch his videos, love his videos, but I only ever tune in to like Vinesauce maybe once or twice a month, if that. I always tune into Vinesauce's help. I always love that, but it's like all of that extra work could very easily translate into nothing.
Exactly.
I did Twitch highlights for a year. Pretty consistently, I might add. And nothing. No results.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be for a number of reasons. But the thing is to grow on Twitch, you need to grow on another platform, which is a whole other set of worms. Like, there's no promise that your Twitch highlights will do well when you switch over to, like, I'll put them on YouTube. There's no promise. Oh, I'll put them on Twitter. There's no promise. There's more discoverability because, unlike Twitch, these other platforms have discoverability, but it's one of those things that's like, there is no promise. The whole reason why YouTube kind of ends up, I think, winning out in this is the fact that the algorithm, it's already there. Like, it's going to push people to your stream when you're live if they engage with your other content. I used to actually like watch Vinesauce more frequently because he was dual streaming to YouTube and Twitch. And yeah, YouTube would show me when Vinny was live. But I never knew when he was live on Twitch because that was an email. Who is checking their email? I mean, specifically on the Vinesauce part, who's checking their email at like 2 a.m? Like, that's no issue idea. 1.
I have no idea.
Like that's the thing that was like, I follow a lot of Twitch streamers. I have no idea when any of them are live unless I'm already on the platform. Whereas if you're streaming to YouTube and I watch your content already, I just know. It feels like Twitch isn't doing its best to support the streamers that it has. It's not innovating, and its discoverability is so garbage that to call it discoverability is an insult to the dictionary definition.
That's the thing. Twitch at the moment is resting on its laurels from what it's done in the past. It has built up a solid, close-knit community. It's got a lot of in-jokes. It's got a lot of stuff going around it. It's been seen as the streaming platform for years now. It's resting on those laurels at this point. But the thing is, YouTube is catching up fast with features, with things that it's offering. The only thing that is stopping, I think, a large influx of potential streamers coming in to switch over to YouTube at this point, it's just quality of life stuff. It's just simple quality of life stuff. Say like
live thumbnails.
Yeah, live thumbnails. It could be a better user interface for people watching it, like a better homepage for discovering live streams. Maybe tiered, what's it called? The subscriptions, like.
Oh, no, membership already exists.
Yeah, like they recently did like tiers of that as well, which is basically like the tier subs on Twitch. Like different things like that. Once they get these quality of life things in, YouTube is going to be offering a much better service. And the thing is, Twitch is just harming its community at this point.
Like, yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, unless Twitch has a fire lit under its ass, nothing is going to change. Which is, I hate Google. Y'all know I hate Google. I wear a Fitbit. I despise the fact that I know Google is watching my biometrics. Like, I despise...
Oh, they know when you're fapping. They see that heart rate go.
No, I'm just going for a walk according to my Fitbit. They don't know. I keep GPS off. But no, like, that's the thing is, like, when it comes down to it, I don't think either platform is going to come out dominant. Realistically, what I think happens is Google catches up, starts to surpass Twitch, maybe convinces a couple of the big boys to jump over, but then it just evens out. At day's end, we're going to see a situation where, you know, one is always going to be on top, so to speak, but it's not going to be super obvious who is.
That's the thing. That's what I hope to see as well. I want to see both platforms, if not another platform, show up eventually as well, and just add competition in the same space. Because if there's just one person in... We've seen it with Twitch. Twitch is just like slowly degrading because it hasn't had major competition for so long. It didn't feel its need to innovate. It's not doing it fast enough. But with YouTube catching up and hopefully another platform at some other point, fair competition in the same space, it's going to cause... Competition is good for competitors, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, that's why whenever there's, like, for example, two competing storefronts, the one that provides the better experience wins out in the end. And the other makes excuses about a shopping cart for about a year.
Okay, I feel this is a reference that I am not getting.
Epic Game Store.
Oh, yeah, no, I still don't get it. All right, okay.
Basically, Epic was like, oh, we're going to be such good competition from Steam, but their only way to compete has been exclusives, and the store lacks basic web store functionality, like a shopping cart. So their only way of getting people is dragging them through Fortnite and then giving them free games to build up a library, so when that kids get credit cards when they grow up, they'll think about using the Epic Game Store over Steam.
Yeesh.
So instead of making a competing storefront, Epic is just trying to buy the next generation.
Lovely. Lovely. So just to kind of like sum up this first part, YouTube is most likely going to win out in the next couple of years, but hopefully after that, it'll start to like cause other platforms to kind of like try and catch up then. So hopefully the space will start to even out and provide multiple platforms with, you know, some, I wouldn't say friendly rivalries, because let's face it, they're companies, they're large businesses. It's not going to be friendly, but it's going to, it's going to make the space more interesting rather than just having one thing dominate.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think that competition is going to be necessary. Like, I would love if quality options were available all the time on Twitch. They've gotten much better about it. But last I checked, it's like you have to be an affiliate, and even then, it's like you got to be lucky on that day.
Yeah, no, the transcoding priority is very strange. I don't understand how and when it works. They prioritize certain streams, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it goes partners and affiliates. But wait a minute, hold on. Transcoding requires web servers. How is it that the company that owns Amazon Web Services, which runs a significant portion of the web, doesn't have the servers for transcoding?
Do you know how many affiliates there are?
I know, but like still, AWS is supposed to be infinitely scalable.
Yeah, but they still got to put the money in to scale it up.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's where that comes in. But no. It's interesting to think about, and I'm interested to see where this where everything's going to go over the next couple of years.
I'm hoping somewhere good. I'm genuinely hoping somewhere good.
Same. I live stream for fun. It's just a side thing for me. I don't see it as like part of my main career, so I'm not really truly invested in it. But it's interesting to see the space.
Yeah. Like, as someone who's trying to tell stories on YouTube now, it's like, I don't really care what streaming platform wins out. I just want it to be better for, like, everybody. And I just want consistent moderations on online platforms, but that's asking too much, and I accept this.
Yep.
Anyway, we're going to take a small break, and when we come back, I'll have water, and Alex will have hit his second wind, and will be acting as if he is on 18 pounds and or some kilograms of meth. We'll be back in a little bit. Hi, welcome to the ad read. You must come here often. I feel like I've seen your beautiful face before. What's that? You skip these. I put so much time and love into this, and I feel like you're not just matching my relationship here. Like, I feel like you guys just aren't matching what I'm putting in here. So let me just sit you down for a second. Let me tell you all about how cool the Patreon is. So first of all, I want to take this moment to thank our top tier patrons, Alakar Safiro, Andrew Sorensen, and Audrey Resendez. You are all beautiful, beautiful people, and we appreciate your contributions. And we appreciate the contributions of all our patrons as they help us keep going and help us know that this show has a future. But why are they supporting our Patreon? Well, it's not just because Alex and I are very beautiful men in a homoerotic relationship that we only tease on Twitter.com and never act on like some kind of J.K. Rowling character, no. It's because we offer exclusive content on the Patreon that you can only get there. We have episodes where we do D&D one-shots. We have episodes where we talk with the audience. We have episodes where we answer your questions. You have so much unique content. A Discord for just patron members. You can, in fact, be in a really cool community of like-minded Patreon subscribers, but instead you're here listening to me, and why is that? Don't you want wonderful content? Don't you want the love that we can give you parasocially by providing you with unique episodes with themes that we're too scared to tackle on the main show? Patreon.com/podcasttangents. Go there and join us. And if not, hey, I appreciate you listening to me ramble. It always means a lot. And now, back to your regularly scheduled episode. And welcome back. How was your break, Alex?
I sat here waiting for you to come back like a sad puppy, drinking my G-Sups.
I had chocolate, which I can't give to a sad puppy, so it's good that I didn't give you any.
Just end me already with chocolate.
I mean, death by chocolate doesn't sound like a bad way to go. You know what is a bad way to go? A slow and painful death of an entire franchise. We're talking about video games now.
What? I'm sorry, you just gave me whiplash? Hold on. Please explain what franchise, what game just died, what?
So, obviously, I've been complaining a lot about Phantasy Star Online 2 because I'm very passionate about it because I love that game. Or I loved that game.
Mm-hmm.
But New Genesis is made by the same guy who made PSO2 Episode 5, or as it was lovingly referred to when it was released, the end of Phantasy Star.
Oh,
because it was just so bad that, like, it almost killed the brand.
Oh, amazing. So it went down well then.
Yeah, and then Sega made this dude the new Genesis director. So instead of Episode 5 being bad content on a good base, it's no content on a bad base. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be.
Oh?
So I play a lot of MMOs for context. I used to play Warframe a lot. I was a big fan of Blueburst. I absolutely adore Final Fantasy XIV. Used to be a Mythic Raider in WoW. I've gotten around throughout my days. I loved the hell out of WildStar. And I was in an abusive relationship with Destiny 2, as is most of its player base. The thing is, though, I was getting into this with a couple of friends the other night. The concept of what makes an MMO engaging in the long term? So I actually wanted to take this time to have kind of a weird talk, because we don't normally get into design philosophy on tangents because we're mostly about the creative process and, the lessons we learn in our life and how we can apply that to content creation, because, it allows us to share our growth with others and in turn allows them to grow vicariously through us and learn some lessons that, now they don't need to make a mistake to learn, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is not that in the slightest.
Oh no. Okay, right, yep.
Well, I mean, it's just, this is something that fascinates the hell out of me. So MMOs, by design, they want you to stay engaged. Because if you're engaged, you'll buy more microtransactions or you'll stay subscribed longer, etc. And there are two ways that MMOs provide progression to maintain engagement. Vertical or horizontal. Would you like to take a guess at what these mean?
I'm assuming horizontal means things kind of grow gradually, whilst vertical is just shoot straight up.
Close, but no.
Okay.
So to give some systemic examples, vertical is when it's just number go up, number go big. So leveling is vertical progression. Gear score is a vertical progression. So things that make the numbers go up, that's vertical. Horizontal, however, is instead of you becoming more directly powerful, you are instead getting more tools with which to engage the game world.
So basically, vertical is essentially getting skill points to increase your base stats, whereas horizontal is getting gear to increase your stats.
No.
Oh.
So it's basically a Skinner box versus adding a new tool to your pocket knife. So
hang on, let me just quickly Google what Skinner box is. I know the term, but I can't bring it to mind right now.
Basically, the concept.
Okay, yeah.
Basically, the concept is vertical progression fulfills our mental requirements of we want to feel like we're making progress. Unga bunga number go up, me go smile, which is very valid. That's baked into our DNA. Horizontal is a lot more, I think intrinsic is the right word, where it's player driven for the most part. So, for example, Final Fantasy XI, the MMO before 14, that has both horizontal and vertical progression in it. You have to level, but leveling just increases your power. If you want to get more tools with which to engage the sandbox, you got to go out and find those. Like Blue Mage, for example. Getting spells is technically horizontal progression, I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so horizontal, getting extra skills is essentially, you stay the same, it's just you learn new things and you then have to implement them to become better.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
right.
For example, Destiny 2 rather, would be a wonderful game to have a horizontal progression, because if getting new weapons, new exotics, etc., that allows you to engage with the sandbox in a different way. Unfortunately, they just keep ripping away your power every 3 months, so the game is stuck in an unending vertical grind. Final Fantasy XIV, for example, is highly vertical.
Mm-hmm.
There is no horizontal progression in 14.
Well, partially there is the Blue Mage stuff like you mentioned, but that's not, you can't really, that's not viable for main game. So.
Yeah, and that doesn't really allow you to engage in the sandbox in any meaningful way. There is no change to how your battle strategy happens. It's still just skedaddle, skedoodle, your health bar is now noodle. You just are still doing nothing but the slaughter.
In Final Fantasy XIV's defense, though, Yoshi P has openly said, hey, if you're not, it's okay to be burnt out. You don't need to be playing the game constantly. It's like, what's other MMOs are like, keep playing, give us your money, give us money.
Anyway, please make sure to buy a house, because if you unsub, we will delete your house.
I mean, for most people, that's not really an issue.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of a me thing.
Yeah.
But
let's face it, if you've bought a house, you're deeply invested, and there's going to be other people in the free company to log in and make sure the house doesn't go and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, Yoshi P's very open about it and being like, hey, it's okay to get burnt out and want to play other games. You can cancel your sub and come back at any time.
Yeah.
And that's great. I love that.
But that's the thing though, is when it comes to actual progression systems though, Final Fantasy exists on your level and then your gear score. And that's all you have to focus on.
Yeah.
There are no extra tools with which you can engage with the game world. But to be fair, Final Fantasy's overworld is lackluster at best. So it's not like it needs it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the same with World of Warcraft as well, like the other big MMO.
Yeah. Like, you get some tools with which to interact with the world in a different way, but you get that through leveling. So it's still completely vertical.
Yes.
But, like, when it comes to progression, I've kind of realized that the games that I find engage me more are horizontal in nature.
Well, that's because it comes down to more skill-based stuff instead of just grinding.
Well, no, that's the thing, is like, I think horizontal games allow you to grind in a way that feels meaningful, as opposed to vertical, where after a bit it feels like a slog, because the number goes up, the number goes up, the number goes up, and eventually either the number stops going up or you get sick because the number going up just has become meaningless.
Yeah.
Like, that's why Gear Treadmill is spaced out on, like, quarterly bases. It's very easy to get burned out on that. That's why I'm very happy that 14 releases its raid tiers and gear sets like once every half a year. But like a good example is, let's put Warframe versus Destiny 2. They're very different games. So the comparison is very surface level here.
Yeah.
But so Destiny, after you get to the gear cap, which by the way is a slog and sucks, you're done the vertical. And now you're on a horizontal grind of, I want to get a god gun. I want to get, let's say, a mountaintop with specific perks on it. So the only thing you can do is just like slaughter wherever mountaintop drops from, and that's what you get. That's all you can get. And you're just hoping for that. And you can get a mountaintop drop. And for context, for anyone who plays D2 in the comments, I don't know if mountaintop is a pinnacle or not. I stopped playing before then. But it's like, people will find like a purple that they want, and they'll just try and grind it out so they can get the perks that they want on it.
Yeah.
But eventually that horizontal stops being the case, because all the horizontal then becomes, I just want to get the exotics. And while that gives you new meaningful ways to engage with your class and engage with the world, it doesn't really provide anything. Because once you have like the bow that you want with the perks that you want, and like a nice exotic gun that you can put in your heavy, and some armor that works with the build you want to go with, you're done. You don't need to do anything else.
Well, that's the thing though, right? Most games these days, it's primarily vertical in the game design, in the sense that how you progress, and the end game is just fashion.
Yeah.
It's just accessorizing, which holds no real merit aside from being like, haha, I look pretty now.
Yeah, which is where shit like the Eververse comes in. But let's talk about Warframe progression for a second, because this is where I think things are interesting. So Warframe is a systemic mess. I will not hide my opinion on this fact. It is a mess.
Oh,
but
Warframe.
I loved Warframe. It's such a shame that they got bought out by Tencent, so I can now no longer morally play their games. The thing is, though, is when it comes to Warframe's progression, you have the vertical progression of, I'm leveling my Warframe, I'm leveling my guns. This is not the main point of Warframe, though.
It's the fashion.
No. It's actually not.
Fashion.
It's not. It's not. So I know you didn't get into the soup as much as I did with Warframe. I've got like 2,000 hours in it, I think.
Dude, I gave Warframe such a long shot. Like, I tried it for so long, but it got to the stage where the grinding was just so much for so little. It took so long to do anything. Like, the real-time waits for things to get done.
Oh god, that sucked.
Like, how long it takes to do like a single mission for a potential drop was just ridiculous. Like, Warframe was just grinding the game. And it was at that point, like, I remember like at that time when we were playing Warframe, like, we used to just get bored and we ended up just fishing.
I miss Fishing Day. Fishing Day was fun. But like, this is the thing though, is Warframe is a game about the acclamation of power. It's about acquiring as much strength as you can. However, you don't acquire strength through vertical progression. Warframe is almost entirely horizontal. Everything that you grind for in that game is a statistical upgrade, or it's a new tool with which to engage the game world.
Yeah.
So for example, the entire mod system,
you are making numbers go up. You are upgrading your mods. That can be called vertical. But you are grinding for mods to increase your power, but also change how you play.
Yeah, it's basically changing the skills that you then have to get used to and then utilize.
Yeah, so like the new Hymelith system, where you can rip Warframe abilities off of other Warframes and put them onto the frame that you want, entirely horizontal. And that's a grind that people find value in because they can meaningfully change how they play. Getting a weapon, getting a primed Warframe, these are grinds, but they just give you another tool with which to engage the world. So Warframe ends up succeeding, I would say, as a grind game because the grind that you're undertaking is specifically for things you don't need but want. Like, for example, Life Strike is a mod that gives you health when you do a channeled attack, which is amazing for endgame, but you don't need to engage with the endgame because there is no endgame. It's just harder, like, missions.
Yeah.
But this doesn't give you any power. In fact, it actually makes channeling more difficult because you lose energy at a faster rate. But you are getting your health back, thus increasing your survivability, which, you don't need for 90% of the game. But you wanted to do this 10%, so you found the tool with which to do it. And I think the crux of so many grind games right now, like Destiny, is they're not making the grind optional. They are making the grind mandatory because they want to farm as much engagement as possible to get as much money as possible.
Mm-hmm.
A good example is Final Fantasy XI. We're going to come back to 11 a lot because 11 is a very player-driven game. Like, you have a vertical grind, but like a lot of what people get is just new tools. Gear was more meaningful past stats in 11. For example, black mages used to have to keep like 3 or 4 sets of gear on them at all times and have macros to swap between the sets for specific phases of how they were playing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no. 11 was just a slog to get optimal. But when you were optimal, the difference between you and someone who didn't go out and find those tools was noticeable. But like, here's a good example. So again, 11 held on for long enough that there are still people grinding in it today. But when push comes to shove, they gave people things that they didn't need, but the tools that people could grind for were significant. So a good example is something called a dynamis weapon. And I only know about this secondhand, so please, comments, forgive me if I get this wrong. Statistically speaking, one of you will have done this. So dynamis is content that maintains the economy by charging guild to get in a significant amount, encourages player engagement and like cooperation, which was a key philosophy of 11's development and like philosophy, because you needed a full raid group and you had to be very coordinated, very group oriented. And this was, and still is, some of the hardest content in the game. And you would go in with your team to farm out a dynamis weapon. And it would take you months to get one weapon for one member of your raid. Not the entire raid, just one member of your raid.
Oh my god.
But here's the thing. The actual number of people with a dynamis weapon was very low, like 1% before the nerfs, and now 7% after the nerfs. But people engaged with this content because a dynamis weapon was best in slot for literally the rest of the game's natural lifespan. You didn't need a dynamis weapon. You didn't have to go and get a dynamis weapon. But you could. And it was just a tool so powerful that it managed to outstrip statistically better objects. And like, that's the thing, is the way that you got a dynamis weapon was by engaging the game's other systems, making gil, communicating with friends, getting new tools with which to tackle the challenges that dynamis presented to you. It wasn't, hey, another season has dropped, we've stripped you of your power, go get it back. It was, you are playing the game anyway. If you would like a better tool, here is where to find it, here is how you get it. And you could make consistent progress on a week-to-week basis by going into dynamis. But you didn't have to. There was no need to. And if you got that tool, you were you were like lauded because you now had the dynamis weapon. You had this amazing tool. But to get that tool, you had to get other tools. Like, you had to basically go up an entire, like, Factorio tech chain to get here. But it was engaging for that exact reason. It asked you to respect and engage with the game and not just mindlessly farm. You were asked to spend time doing other things. But, like, because of that horizontal progression, you engaged in other systems. Like, that's, I think, the true power of horizontal, is the fact that, like, it's player driven.
Yeah.
You don't need, you want, you don't have to, you desire to. Like, that's why I find 11 to be such a fascinating thing to me. Because it's like, you would think that a game this grindy would be all about just your vertical power. When in reality, it's more so, here's what I know my class can do. How can I change or, you know, accentuate that?
No, it definitely sounds like horizontal is, it sounds like it's the more fun method of game design, mainly for the fact that it's not just, grinding away, number be high, haha, bigger number, better person kind of thing. Like, horizontal, it's just the idea of going out into, like, a game world and searching around for skills and learning how the mechanics work and, like, figuring out how things play and improving your character's skills as a player's skills sounds so much more engaging than just, okay, I killed that thing. Oh, cool, I leveled up. Better numbers. Haha, I do more damage now. Do the same thing.
Yeah. Like, this is something that I felt the original PSO2 actually failed upon. Because in that game, you can get weapon potentials, which are just extra effects that your weapons do. But there was also a vertical grind along with that. So you would have to take weapon potentials that might not accentuate how you want to play because you needed the higher numbers. New Genesis likewise fails because it lacks even that. It has weapon potentials, but they're not meaningful yet. Not in any meaningful way, at least. So all that game is a vertical power grind with, like, a horrible 1% drop that is player-driven. But it's like, it's one of those things where, like, games need to accept, I think, like, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people, when they play a game, they don't want to think, which is acceptable, but games need to accept that the most dedicated people want to deeply engage with their systems, and in a lot of ways can't. But at this point, I'm just going to start talking in circles, because realistically, this is something that I have spent so long thinking about. Like, dude, I would love if, like, Jonathan Sega himself called my cell phone, told me about my car's extended warranty, and, like, was like, hey, man, can you come on as, like, a producer for, like, a couple of months? I would love to steer a game into a more horizontal state, because I think that is where true engagement lies, is giving people the time and, you know, the respect to set goals for themselves and push forward. Because realistically, that's what gets people going.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's just vertical is just, as you say, it's just farming. It's fine if you want to play a game that's, like, mindless to a degree. But,
yeah, like, that's why I liked Warframe.
Yeah, horizontal just seems just more engaging. It seems just more rewarding in general as well.
Yeah.
But my big question is, I guess Minecraft is horizontal then.
I mean, kind of. There are statistical benefits between the different tiers of materials, but almost everything in Minecraft is player decided. If you want to just be a bungo with, like, you know, wood axe and, like, that's all you're rocking, you can do that, because Minecraft is an objectiveless game. You don't have to kill the Ender Dragon.
So I guess Minecraft is horizontal and vertical.
Yeah, most games tend to have some level of horizontal progression. It's just been more lost as a design philosophy as the years have gone on.
So if you, in your game, as you go through, what, I take it you would be working towards more of a horizontal, or would you be working more vertical?
I think vertical has a point to get people engaged with the game and understanding the systems, but ideally, if I were to design, like, let's say I design a Destiny competitor, I would want the grind to be largely horizontal. Like, Destiny is actually trending in a more horizontal way, which I appreciate, because the new subclass system is actually, like, you're still grinding. It's still Destiny, but but for Stasis, for example, the new, like, super that they added in the last expansion, you got a bunch of different pieces to customize how Stasis would work. So you would get a bunch of different grenade types and then modifiers for those grenade types. You would get, like, aspects to change how your super performs and what your super does. You would get options with which to tweak and change how your performance works. And then they added mods to do roughly the same to guns. They fail to carry through on this because they are forcefully changing the meta every couple of months because, they don't want things to get stagnant, which creates a really bad feeling. But I would want to trend in the same direction of giving players the ability to heavily customize how their character performs rather than just another vertical time sync. I think a vertical time sync has its place every 2 years with like a major expansion, but I think realistically giving people the options to really just get in the thick of how things work for their character, I think that is where true engagement lies. Because at that point, anyone who's engaging with it is passionate about your game, and if you made your game good, that'll hopefully be a large majority of the audience.
Yeah.
But I don't work at these major companies. I'm sure there's a reason why that's just not viable. And it's also like a nightmare of a design challenge for the long term. Because how do you keep introducing good new tools over time?
Well, at that point, I guess the game then starts to veer in towards power creep, which is a massive issue on its own as well.
Yeah, like I do not envy players who get in Warframe now, like at all. There's so much shit they got to hunt for now. But that's a topic for another day. I just wanted to share my thoughts. I think it's just it's a fun thing to think about, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what else is a fun thing to think about?
What's that, Cam?
Having a delicious burger, which I can't do while we're making a podcast. So I think I'm going to stop making a podcast and go make a burger.
Oh, that sounds like a good plan. I am fading fast. You know that
Exactly.
second wind? I think it hit during the mid-roll, and then when we came back, it started to disappear.
So that's going to do it for us. Alex, you have anything you want to talk about? Anything coming up in the pipeline anytime soon?
Anything in the pipeline at this point in time? I probably have a couple of videos coming out very soon. Other than that, a couple of projects I'm keeping under wraps for the time being. How about you, Cam?
I got nothing. It feels good. Brain's on static.
Oh, baby, I wish I could be there.
But that said, thank you again, everyone, so much for watching. Thank you to our patrons for continuing to support our show. We couldn't do this without either of you, so I really just wanted to say thank you for listening and thank you for supporting the show, as always. That said, this has been the Tangents Podcast, and I'm going to go and make a delicious burger and collapse on my couch into a boneless, fleshless heap. Have a great rest of your day.
See ya.